check. Let's see what's going on. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Let me check on my end. My microphone. Share this. Mic check, mic check. Let's see if it come through. We good, we good, we good. I'm gonna do this read. It's about yeah, maybe it's a lot of pictures. It's really should be quick. It should be recognizable for most people. It looked interesting to me. I was gonna pop open a book to end the night, but then I was like, you know what? I like the maps, man. Like, you know, the visuals always, it's more exciting. Um, then some of these books, man, the text be so damn small. It's like, why'd y'all make the text so damn small? It ruins the experience. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna walk through this. I'm gonna see what I could pick up out of it. Y'all know, I come in, do my thing real quick, get in, get out. Um, that's why most people they think I'm sneaky. Nah, it's just I create the atmosphere and environment to be able to focus. You know what I mean? When you get an audience and you get a lot of eyes and stuff, especially with these types of topics, people lose, you know, a sense of being genuine. It all becomes performance. Um, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. I'm gonna bring this up in about a minute or two. Give me 1 second. It's really difficult to go on YouTube now and actually learn something interesting. I don't feel like there's channels that you could go there and learn something interesting or hear about something you never heard before. But I do that, so I'm my own favorite channel. I don't want these weird characters on my channel. I get them away from me. We gotta be able to learn over here. I'll be back in 1 minute. We're gonna read through this. It should be a good read. 1413, Viladestes Chart. Let's learn about it. I do my live research. I do it on the spot. If you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, you don't. And then YouTube got this thing now where it's like after I do a video, it's like this long drawn out process. And I'm just like, yo, come on. I did the video and then the video got to come down after because it's processing. It's not available. Shit don't even make sense. So I got this full screen, but I realized it's actually important for me to be able to see this. For you guys, it's gonna be hard to see. I zoomed in 500%, and it's still, not very detailed. So I got my got my iPad. So I want to bring this up on my iPad and really zoom in and find some stuff on here. I'm trying to do it on this so we could look closely. It's really difficult to see on this. I'm looking at this ship over here because it's letting me know there's maritime activity going on in this region. Then with the date 1413, that roughly coincides with the Portuguese and their expeditions down at the coast. So this has to be a time where we're starting to see that take place on the African coast, West African coast. And another thing I noticed about this is, there's really no true orientation to the entire map. It's meant to be rotated. It's obviously meant to be placed down below on a table where you can move around the table. You don't just be centered at one spot on the table when you're viewing the map. I'm out of order. I'm off this Amazon. Technology, man. Alright. Send this to myself. We're gonna really zoom in because we're gonna get into it. And then we're gonna read the article. And then I might end by doing some linguistic studies. Let me turn the music down just a tiny bit. I like it playing in the background now. That's smooth. All right, so now we're gonna get a closer look. It's gonna be interesting. All right, let me open this up on the iPad. All right, so on the iPad I can see it a little bit better. If I try to make out what the language is, oh man, I do see. Oh man, the script is familiar, so it is in Latin script. If that's correct, let me make sure I'm saying the right thing. So we know Latin script. Damn, not numbers. And that was another interesting thing. Latin script come from alphabet come from the Arab or something like that. I gotta iron out that fact. All right, so the Latin script, also known as the Roman script, is a writing system based on the letters of the classical Latin alphabet derived from a form of the Greek alphabet, which was in use in the ancient Greek city of Cumae in Magna Graecia. The Greek alphabet was altered by the Etruscans, and subsequently, the alphabet was altered by the ancient Romans. Several Latin script alphabets exist, which differ in graphemes, collation, and phonetic values from the classical Latin alphabet. All right. All right, 26 most. Okay, so this is, all right, so correct word was being used. Just had to make sure. Um, so it is Latin script for one. Grab this real quick. I see another little ship. I'm gonna get that zoomed in a second. So there's a ship to the left right here. So again, let me try to zoom in on my side on the iPad. You know, it's a shame I can't read any of this. It's Latin script. The language gotta be Latin. Damn, and I wish there was a clear image of this. Let's see if there is on. You know, the wiki, what they call it, the wiki images. Wikimedia Commons, that's what it is. Alright, so it's called the Viladestes. That's spell that right? Yeah, Viladestes. Vila, okay. Viladestes. This. We ain't even get into the story yet. There he is, right here. This is it. Alright. This is perfect. See if any of these have clarity. Not very clear. They gotta get us a nice clear scanned image of, oh, this ain't bad. But see, it could be better than that though. Alright, so this right here is not bad. That's not bad at all. Alright, see. Can't read none of this. But you know what? I might put the no, that's not gonna work. That'll look, damn. Yeah, can't read none of this. We would have to put it into like an AI, like piece by piece, and have the AI translate it. But I guess I could try to interpret it visually. That'd be the best I could do. So we got a kingdom over here. Look like a white ruler, which is very interesting. Because this is, you know what? Let's just get to the reader. You know what I mean? I would like to go into the map a little bit more. That's a good introduction. We can see they believe that there was, this looks to be, this either a mountain range or a river. My first guess would have been they think this is a mountain range. I've seen on some of the previous Arab maps, you know, some of the ideas they had about that strip. They thought that the Western Nile was connected to the Eastern Nile, and it was all one thing that was together in the interior of Africa. That was the medieval thought. The Nile on the east is connected to the quote-unquote Nile on the west, which we know is really the Niger and Senegal River, which I believe are connected. If not, they're the two major rivers in West Africa. Let me clarify that. Let's get clear on that so we wouldn't know some geography. I'm gonna guess that they're not. All right, they are not currently connected, but their headwaters are close to each other. And in ancient times, they were connected. Oh shit. You know what? We might have to see if in ancient times was the Nile in the east connected to the Nile in the west. Because, damn, we may have to look into that. Ancient connection evidence suggests the rivers were once physically linked in the distant past, which may account for similarities in their fish populations. Okay. Due to their close headwaters, early geographers in both the Arab and European worlds mistakenly believed the two rivers were one large western Nile flowing east to west. This theory was persistent in cartography for centuries. There we go. So that's exactly where we were, where I was trying to go with that. So we could go back to the article itself, get into the reading, taking my time. 1413 Portland chart by Messia de Viladestes. All right, Messia de Viladestes. That's how I read his name. Then it says Carte Marin del Ocean, basically. Atlantic Northeast de la Mer Méditerranée, de la Mer Noire, however you say that. This got to be French or Spanish, right? One of those. De la Mer, we know de la Mer is of the sea. Rouge, de un parti de la Mer Caspienne, so the Caspian Sea. Du Golfe Persique et de la Mer Baltique. Yo, I might must see. I've been thinking like, I want to learn another language. Y'all know I know the Arabic, right? I get bored with that now. It gets a little boring sometimes. I started looking into the old English. You know what I mean? You know what? Let me see if the niggas be wanting to do readings, bro. Niggas don't be wanting to do the readings. It's all good though. I be trying to engage, a lot of people rather talk about the sports. I like getting to the information. It's like uncovering the mystery. That's how I view it. All right, so he was a Jewish cartographer in Spain who, like many others, converted to Christianity and undertook numerous research expeditions at the behest of the King of Aragon. So now you got people who are ethnically still Jewish and ethnically still Arab who've managed to stay in Iberia. And then vice versa on the other side, you got the renegade Christian Iberians, the renegade Spaniards, right? Who have defected, or maybe they've been, taken prisoner or hostage, prisoner of war, whatever you want to call it. And now they're subject of the Moroccan Empire. And they're fighting for the Moroccans. They're participating in the Moroccan invasions to the south. The 1591 conquest of the Songhai Empire, which they say lasted about 8 years, which was the last great major West African empire of the three that they famously talk about, which is Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. That Moroccan army consisted of not just your Arabs and Berbers. You had renegade Christians from Iberia who were a part of that army of cavalry, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is. I gotta learn more about that. So he was ascribed to the so-called Majorcan school of cartography, which was predominant from the 13th to the 15th centuries, in which produced a masterpiece of European cartography with the famous Catalan Atlas of 1375 by Cresques Abraham, or Cresques Abraham, however you say this dude's name. This Catalan World Atlas, made for King Peter IV of Aragon, was gifted to the French King Charles V in 1380, which is why it is housed in the French National Library today. As a groundbreaking cartographic document, the sea chart of Messier de Viladestes is no less significant. Alright, we're getting into it. It's getting good. I'm seeing the politics. Y'all know now I'm always looking for the politics. I always want to know who is connected to who is fighting who is helping who. And I don't just want to know what they called themselves. I want to know who was within. I understand the big title. Oh, y'all call yourself the Moroccans. Oh, y'all call yourself the Kingdom of Aragon. That's cool. I want to know about the ethnicities. I want to know about the different races that were in your army. I want to really understand the social and culture. He was ascribed to the so-called Majorcan school of cartography, which was predominant from the 13th to the 15th centuries, and which produced a masterpiece of European cartography with the famous Catalan Atlas of 1375 by Cresques Abraham. This Catalan World Atlas, made for King Peter IV of Aragon, was gifted to the... Okay, I read that already. The map on vellum has a size of 115 by 85 centimeters and is definitely dated 1413. The chart is signed and dated by Viladestes as Messier de Viladestes me fecit in anno. Then you got the Roman. Alright. MCCCCX, whatever, 13. Messier de Viladestes made me in 1413. Oh wow, okay. And its iconographic program includes abundant images of cities and monarchs, depictions of curious animals, and rich explicative inscriptions, as well as various economic activities like the hunting of whales in the northern Atlantic. It shows a region which encompasses the Northeast Atlantic, the Mediterranean, the Black and Red Seas, as well as a part of the Persian Gulf, the Caspian Sea, and Baltic Sea. Wonderful illustrations supplement the numerous Catalonian descriptions that cover the Portland chart. Alongside cities and oases, watering holes and mountains, Africa is especially adorned with representations of camels, dark-skinned people, and 4 splendidly dressed African kings. Finally, the figure of John the Baptist kneels in the Nile Delta. So maybe that's that white person. Yep, that's who it is. So I'm like, yo, who is this white king in the interior of Africa? I'm like, they have white kings there? That gotta be fake. You know what I mean? So we gotta figure out why they put that. Because even when I seen that, I'm like, huh? Ain't no way. And he's Muslim, bro. Or, you know what? I shouldn't say that. Because I did have a good conversation with the brother at the museum. And we talked about, like, what is Muslim dress? What is this kind of dress? A lot of those people from different religions would sometimes be dressed similarly to each other because that was the time. This is interesting though. We see, it looks like crosses, you know. He's kneeling with a bird. Look at parrot. Yeah, I gotta see what this says right here. We gotta put this into the AI and ask it, what does that say? Watch, I'm gonna get it. Yeah, we're gonna put it into the AI. The AI is gonna read it. Oh, I should have did it with Google. Ask it, what does this say? Then I'm gonna try to attach this. All right. Yeah, we're gonna drop the file. Let's see what it could do. All right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on. What? I can't verify this, but it says the script in the image is a form of late medieval or early Renaissance Latin and Gothic cursive handwriting, often found in European Portland maritime charts. Yeah, and I could tell that it was like the way it was written is how the Anglo-Saxon, people were writing, or that Old English or Middle English or whatever during like the 800s and whatnot, the 900s, the 1000s. It looked like that, but I could tell it wasn't English because I couldn't make out not a single semblance of a word. So I said, you know what, it's Latin. But yeah, the way it's written, it got that Old English feel to it. All right. While some characters are difficult to distinguish due to stylization, a close transcription is Aqueste solda de Babilonia es gran en podero ser los altres señores de la cita, 28:480. This translates roughly to, the Sultan of Babylon is great and powerful above the other lords of the city. The 28:480 likely refers to a distance measurement often used in nautical charts to mark leagues or miles between locations. Babylonia in medieval maps commonly referred to Cairo, Egypt. I did not know that. Okay. Whose sultan was frequently depicted as a powerful ruler during this time. Okay. So that's what the AI says. Let's see what the article got to say. If it even goes into that. I don't know if it's even going to go into that. But, all right, both in Northern Africa and Asia, different kings and rulers are drawn. And the dominant religion of the regions and cities is marked by graphic elements drawn in the cities. Thus, the Christian territories are marked by towers with a cross on the top, while most of the regions of Africa and Asia have towers with crenellations or domes. The fascination with Africa that already existed at the beginning of the 15th century is visualized by the map of Monsieur de Viladestes. In Viladestes' map, Africa stretches from west to east along the great rivers, the Senegal, Niger, and Niles. Caravans march through the desert to trade salt for gold with the desert tribes. This lucrative business was negotiated along top secret routes straight through the desert, which were only known to a few insiders. Viladestes knew these strictly secret locations in the desert where the caravans traded gold for salt. On the lower margin of his map, Viladestes attached explanations for the stages of the journey through the Sahara. This exceptionally detailed information about the African continent was appended by an additional special feature of Viladestes' sea chart. The Majorcan cartographer also depicted the northern regions of the Atlantic, whereof no maps were known in spite of the Hanseatic League. Okay, we got to figure out what this is. What is the Hanseatic League? Let me ask the AI, uh, or just Google it. All right, so the Hanseatic League. Oh, okay. Was a medieval alliance of merchant guilds in their cities, primarily in Northern Europe, that protected their common commercial interests from the mid 13th to the 16th centuries. The League's goals included protecting trade routes, securing favorable conditions, and establishing monopolies for securing for goods like grain, timber, and furs. Its power declined in the 15th century due to external pressure and competition, especially from Dutch merchants and internal political weakness. All right, we got a little image here. Let's see if we can get into this. You know, every time we could get a visual, it's always helpful. So this is the Hanseatic League, apparently. Major trading flows of the Hanseatic League. Trade networks highlighting major trade imports, regional alliances, and key maritime routes of the Hanseatic League. So we got the Scandinavians here, which is Norway and was it Sweden? No, something like that. This is like modern Germany, where we see like Saxony and the Rhineland. I know the Rhineland might also be France area. London. Okay. Denmark is it might be where Lubeck is. The Danzig. All right. So the birth of long distance trade. I'm just gonna catch a snapshot of this. See if I could build on the ideas that's in the article. See what this got to say. So it says Europe during the Dark Ages was in a state of dire subsistence. Europe's population declined for several centuries after the collapse of the Roman system due to low crop yields. Historians and archaeologists have not yet reached a consensus on the causes, but there are a few suspects. The collapse of Roman state capacity made it harder to collect taxes, which meant that irrigation infrastructure like aqueducts fell into disrepair, and the yields of the surrounding farms fell with them. Okay, that makes sense. A volcanic eruption in 536, likely in Iceland or North America, triggered the late antique ice age, which chilled the climate of the northern hemisphere for approximately 200 years. That's crazy. Okay. While the casual story is hazy, its impact on European life is painfully clear. The Roman system of smallholder farms collapsed, which dragged previously independent farmers into working as tenants on large manors controlled by landowners. Without significant agricultural surpluses, Europe could no longer support a large population of craftsmen and artisans. As the artisan class vanished, so too did urban markets and even money. Copper and silver coins, which Romans had used in day-to-day transactions, fully disappeared. Some kingdoms still minted gold coins, but these were primarily stores of value to pay administrative fees and rarely used in trade. Europe's population by the 600s was just 14 to 18 million people, but shortly after hitting rock bottom, its fortunes began to reverse. All right. Starting in the 800s, the flow of goods and people, especially in Northern Europe, began to pick up tempo. Temperatures recovered during what is known as the medieval warm period, 900 to 1300, which improved agricultural yields by making more regions arable for longer stretches of the year. All right. Simultaneously, medieval farmers advanced their agricultural processes in a period that archaeologist Helena Hamerow describes as a medieval agricultural revolution. Northern European farmers adopted the mold-board plow, an ox-driven heavy plow that significantly increased the amount of highly arable land available for farming, and by making it possible to plow nutrient-rich but badly drained river silt. All right, so they recovered through their inventions and farming skills and nature. They had some fortune on their side. So medieval farmers with a moldboard plow. Technology. So crop rotation got more advanced. What started as a two-field rotation system farmed in fallow became a more advanced three-field system, where one field grew grain, one lay fallow, and a third grew either legumes, which nitrogenated, which I think I said that right, which nitrogenated the soil that had been depleted by a previous grain cycle, or oats to feed the farm horses. By approximately 900, the horse collar arrived in northern Europe, making it possible for horses, faster and more powerful than oxen, to pull plows for the first time. All right, I'm gonna get back to the actual map. But that's the Hanseatic League. That brought us down a little rabbit hole. Come back, learn about this Majorcan studied Jew. Oh, well, converso, actually. He was born Jewish. All right, Viladestes integrated a wonderfully figurative scene there. Before Iceland, a small boat, having been unloaded from a large ship, nears an imposing whale in order to slay him with a harpoon. Upon closer inspection, a bishop can be recognized on board the ship. This depiction could be of the legend of Saint Brendan, and thus interlink religious legendary stories with the reality of whaling. So I'll make the connection to Massachusetts. The South Coast area was where the whaling took place. And that connects with the Cape Verdean people and the Portuguese. New Bedford. What's another one down there? New Bedford. I don't want to say the wrong city. Fall River. Definitely Fall River. But we got this here. So where's the whale at? Oh, there is the whale right there. What flag is this? See, it's not clear. We can't tell. But this is supposed to be the supposed bishop, I think. Either this guy or this one right here. But it's probably this one right here. They're saying it's the legendary Saint Brendan, perhaps. But back to the script. So it's the Latin alphabet, but the style is Gothic. Definitely Gothic. So Messia de Viladestes paid close attention to the islands in the Atlantic, which are depicted with great care and detail. Viladestes distinguishes himself as an exceptional cartographer with a constant drive after the actualization of his knowledge in this time of great discoveries. He depicted several small islands at the river mouth of the great African stream of gold. These were interpreted as the Cape Verde Islands, which were nevertheless first officially discovered in 1455. Okay, so hold on. I think I scrolled down too much. Because this map is from 1413. Okay. As a result, the sea chart of Messia de Viladestes circumscribes the history of discovery. Right. The sea chart of Messia de Viladestes enchants in its entirety, and in connecting with this variety of innovative notations, it is one of the most important maps from the famous and well-known collection of the Bibliothèque Nationale de France. Look at this, beautiful though. You know, once we see the colors pop in, man, I wish we could read this. But this definitely says Sudan, right? Or Sudan. It looks like Sudan to me. sure you guys would agree with that. We obviously see this guy is definitely Islamic Muslim. This is the Malian king. 1413. So in the year 1413, it's definitely not Ghana. It's either between Mali and Songhai time frame, 1413. So let's see. It's probably Mali, right? Because that's Mansa Musa. Gotta be Mali. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna guess that's because the Songhai come a little bit later, I believe. We got a fortress. So this looks like it says Rex, which I'm gonna guess is like Rex, which is king. Man, let's see if we could ask the AI what this says, and I'm gonna give it a little bit more context. All right. Let's see if the AI could tell us what it say. All right, let's see if it knows. Rex Musamel. This is written in a stylized medieval script. Yep, so I was right about that. I knew it was Rex or Rax, which means king. Rex is Latin for king. The accompanying illustration likely represents a historical king named Musamel, or a variant thereof, possibly reference to a figure, and we know it's the king of Mali. All right, but apparently it's actually Musamel, apparently to the AI. Musamel, and I could see that as well. Musameli though. See, Musa. If this is an M, I might have this. Yeah, if this is an M and this is an M, this is the A. No, that's an E. Musameli or Musamali. So the Musa of Mali, and I'm gonna guess Musa. Musa meaning. Let's see. Musa meaning. Oh well, Musa also means Moses, so I didn't even think of that. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that. So King Musa Mali. All right, so we could clearly make that out. All right, so ancient Mali's leader Mansa Musa reigned circa 1312 to 1337. Became renowned internationally following his lavish 1324 pilgrimage to Mecca, or Hajj. He was subsequently portrayed on the most advanced maps of the day produced by the Majorcan Cartographic School. Such highly detailed nautical charts, which incorporated first-hand information from mariners and merchants, remained impressively accurate even by contemporary standards. Messier de Viladestes applied methods for plotting vast maritime expanses to the desert landscape. Among the select protagonists featured is Mansa Musa, shown enthroned in the lower left, wearing a crown and holding both a scepter and a nugget of gold. So showing wealth and showing power. So we see the canary. Yeah, that says canary right there. So So those are the Canary Islands. So this is a typical Portuguese falua. And I knew, see, look, I called it, man. And I knew that just based off the date. If we're dealing with early 1400s, that's going to be the Portuguese putting in that work. The Portuguese, like the other European nations, began with a fishing fleet whose simple vessels were progressively adapted to the new demands placed on them. Technically, they were neither better nor worse equipped at the outset than the English, the French, or the Dutch. The typical Portuguese falua is beautifully illustrated in the Viladestes Chart of 1413. It was deckless, had one or two masts, was lateen rigged, carried steering boards on the bows, and it was small enough to be rowed. All right, let me see. Yeah, and that makes sense because this is expected, right? You know, it's almost like we know that Norse people were getting around, and they even ended up in France or Normandy. They ended up even in Italy. So that information and that knowledge is definitely flowing through Europe. Definitely flowing through Europe. All right. A process of gradual modification saw this design evolve into the larger caravel, which was at least partly decked and partly square rigged, and with small stern castles. All right. A Rex on something. So we got another king. White guy. I can't read that. Desorellona. The legendary Prester John, shown in northern Africa. Presser, yeah, it does say Presser Jonah, something like that. Presser Jonah. It does say that. I can see it now. Nubia. That definitely says Nubia. Africa and the Atlantic, as the Portuguese knew them, on the eve of the invasion of Ceuta. A detail from the Viladestes Chart at the bottom right is Prester John. To his immediate left is the famed River of Gold, flowing west across the continent, a confusion with the Niger and Senegal rivers. Let me look at that again. Okay. So at the end of this, I'm gonna go back to the chart, zoom out so we could get a bigger perspective, a fuller perspective. All right. Offshore from south to north are islands, both real and imaginary. The Canaries, Madeira, the Azores, Brazil, and St. Brendan's Isle. As it appears on the Catalan charts, Africa contains several instantly recognizable features, and all of them appear all on the Viladestes chart, drawn on the eve of the invasion of Ceuta. Mm. King Joffre of Portugal and his advisors almost certainly pored over a map very much like the Viladestes Chart as they developed their plan of attack. South of the Mediterranean coast, past past the Atlas Mountains in the Sahara, a series of portraits of wealthy and powerful African kings. These kings ruled over a vast territory that was cut through from east to west by the River of Gold, presumed to be the source of the gold brought north to the Mediterranean coast by desert traders. Okay. Represented as a branch of the Nile, it forks south of Egypt on the map and flows across the continent until it reaches the Atlantic at an uncharted part of Africa's northwest coast, approximately at the latitude of the Canary Islands. This was, as one early Catalan chart put it, the end of Africa and the Western land. All right, the African kings displayed across North Africa, including ancient Mali's leader Mansa Musa and the legendary Prester John. We can see important references to the Old Testament, such as Noah's Ark on the top of the Ararat Mount and Mount Sinai, with an inscription explaining that it was where Moses received tablets of stone from God. But there are also important places for Islam. Thus, a prominent representation of the city of Mecca is drawn, with a black man kneeling, looking at the city, and praying. This is a very interesting example of the value of Milicia de Viladestes Chart as a reflection of the religious plurality in the geographic context of the 15th century. My laptop's dying. Let's see if we can get through this before it cuts out, because I ain't even going to try to save it. We almost there though. How much you got left? 10%? That's good. Regarding the chromatic features of the work, gold pigment is used for several islands and flags that mark the different regions. The Baltic Sea, the rivers, and the clothes of some of the sovereigns are painted a rich blue, and the Red Sea is colored in intense red. Noah's Ark. Couldn't tell what that was, but I guess I see it. This is Noah's Ark right here. It was a little bit tricky to make that out. I guess this is Mecca, right? I got a black man. 1413. This early. I wish we could see what this says right here. We're gonna put these into the AI. We gotta get this translated. Mount Sinai. All right, regarding the chromatic features of the work, gold pigment is used for several islands and flags that mark the different regions. The Baltic Sea, the rivers, and the clothes of some of the sovereigns are painted a rich blue. All right, we read that already. Both the abundant place names and textual information of the chart are written in Majorcan dialect. Oh, okay. Making this work a very useful document for studying not only its geographic, artistic, and cultural features, but also a source for toponomical studies. Absolutely. In 1806, the Spanish writer Joaquin Lorenzo Villanueva, in his work Viaje Literario a las Iglesias de España, which means literary travel to the churches of Spain, described a large and remarkable map signed by the Majorcan cartographer Messia de Viladestes, which was held in the Carthusian monastery of Val de Cristo, located near Castellon. During the ecclesiastical confiscation of Mendizabal, 1836 to 37, one of the biggest liberal confiscations in Spain, the monks of the Val de Cristo had to dispose of the goods of the monastery, and after various vicissitudes, the map arrived in the National Library of France, where it is still located under the shelf mark GEAA 566. All right, Messia de Viladestes was one of the most important Majorcan cartographers of the first half of the 15th century. Of Jewish origin, he converted to Christianity and worked in Majorca, creating nautical charts and contributing to the development of the Majorcan school of cartography. He is the author of another famous chart dated 1423 and located in the Biblioteca Medicia Lorenziana in Florence with the shelf mark Ash 1802. All right, so now I want to go back and actually take a look. Now that we have some context and know what we were looking at. So we know it's in the Majorcan dialect. We know that that writing style is Gothic, but it's Latin script. All right, where is it at? All right, here it is. Actually, where's the Wiki? We're gonna use the Wikimedia Commons. So it don't got Mecca on this one. And I said we're gonna put something into the AI to read what it said. Oh, yeah, the one. Yep. All right, so let me see. See, on this one, I don't see Mecca. Where's Mecca on this one? Oh, I found it. You know what? I saw it in the corner of my eye. Hold up. He's over here. He's over here. I found him. Damn, this thing is so out of control, man. Oh, you know what? Gonna make this simple and plain. Damn, there's no way it's gonna be able to read that, man. There's no way. Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. That's way too blurry. So you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. We're gonna try it. I doubt that it's gonna be able to pick that up. Due to the stylized medieval script. Damn, it said can't give it needs a higher resolution. Let me see if I could get that. gotta be another one. There gotta be another one on Wikimedia. Let's see if I can find it. All right, let's see. I might be able to work. Nah, this. You know what? This. Oh man, it's close, but it's. Yeah, that's not good enough. They gotta go in that library and scan this shit. Seriously. They got that black flag over Mecca. That's interesting. Look at the white Berbers taking a white man through the desert, showing them around. Someone else on a camel right here. Can't tell. It looked like he's holding a bird too. Got him by the feet. They gotta update these images. Give us some higher resolution images. Oh, okay, hold on. You know what? Now I'm actually starting to see it correctly. Wow. Okay, I was looking at this wrong the entire time. All right, hold on. Damn. All right, so the way I was looking at it, and y'all was probably looking at it the same way. I thought this was supposed to be the cartographer's representation of the western coast of Africa, but it's not. When you zoom in, let me see if I can find the coastline. All right, so I found it right here. This is a coastline. This ship is off in the water. I think they called it the Portuguese Falua, right? So this is the coast. You can kind of see it right here, this line. And then this would be the Cape. And they'll go into your Cape Verde Islands. I'm pretty sure, Canary Islands. I think this would be Cape Verde or Canary. I did see something that said Canary. But when we read it, it said Cape Verde. Which means this would be like the Senegambian region. Then the coast follows up here. And boom, look at this. I did not even notice Iberia is on this damn chart. I was looking at it completely wrong the whole live. Because I couldn't see. It was so zoomed out. Couldn't see anything. But this is Spain right here. Oh man, this is insane. It go all the way up. Look, Britain. I could not even see this. I couldn't even see it the whole time because the website had those weak ass images, low resolution. Damn, man. I could have ended the live not even knowing what I was looking at because the damn quality of the images was so low. That's messed up. All right, so now I can actually see. Now it actually makes sense. See if we could grab some of these words. So this is Majorcan. It's Majorcan. It's from the school of Majorca, which was that Mediterranean island. Latin alphabet with a Gothic script style. It's crazy. So Majorca is actually, let's see if we can find it. I think this is Majorca right here. That gotta be it. It's one of these three islands, but I think Majorca is the biggest one. Or could be maybe even one of these over here. I can't tell. Can't read it. But we know what's that damn island? Sicily. This is Sicily over here, right? Dang, look at Sicily. Yo, I was about to end the live. This is Italy right here. Now, boom. Oh, I can see it clearly now. This is crazy. I was about to end the live. Almost saying to myself, yeah, I feel like I ain't even take nothing away from this. But now that I can see it, oh, there's definitely takeaways. This is crazy. This is crazy. Now we can see. Look at this. They look like they going to war. So that was Prester John down there. This right here got to be the Nile, right? Hold on. This thing acting dysfunctional. Hold on. That's an Arab right there. All right, I got to find the coast again. All right, these are the Atlas Mountains. This mountain range is the Atlas Mountains. So this is Morocco region. Right below Morocco, we find ourselves in the Senegal region. So the Senegal River. He didn't even put the Senegal River on here. Where is it? See? Look. Now that I can see, man. I can break this down. Make a big difference. Let me stay there, see if I keep this plugged in real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm actually gonna move this. All right. Man, I wish we could translate all of this. All right. So that's the Falua. That's Suta up here. So this is where the all right, what kingdom was that in 1413 in modern Morocco? It's not the Ayyubids. Let me see who's in 1413. Which dynasty or empire is in modern Morocco? Now we gotta get some context. The Marinid dynasty. All right, so it's the Marinids are the ruling power. They were a Berber Muslim dynasty that controlled the region from the mid 13th to the 15th century, including the period around 1413. All right, so yeah, it would have been the Marinids, whoever the hell they are. We just know they're Berbers. Can't tell you nothing about them. um, Governed Morocco, 1413. The Wattasids were interflued. All right, we don't care about that. Let's get back to this. Where is it at? To close this one. So when we get to this part, I'm trying to find the coast again. Where the hell is the coast? So this gotta be like Tunisia right here because it's sticking out a lot. This is Sicily. So all right, I found the coast. Found the coast. Found the coast. Now this is the Nile River right here. All right, this is what they call Shams. Some people know as the Levant or Palestine, Israel area. What island is this? I should know what that is right there. You got a nigga all the way over here in Mecca. This is the Red Sea, by the way. That's easy to see, right? Because it's got that intense red. So this is the Red Sea. This got to be the Ethiopian king now, right? Now I can see if this is the Red Sea, that's the Ethiopians, the Negus. So now we got to find out in 1413 what's going on in Ethiopia. What about modern Ethiopia? Who was in control? I want to know what's going on over there. 1413. The Solomonic dynasty was the ruling dynasty in the territory of modern Ethiopia. This Christian dynasty, which claimed descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, governed the highland regions under a line of emperors that began in 1270 and continued for centuries. So the emperor was Dawit, and that's very interesting. I went to school with someone who had that name, but he was actually Eritrean from Eritrea, where Nipsey Hussle was from. So those them Nipsey Hussle niggas over there running that shit in 1413. But let's go back to it. So this is the Ethiopian, Eritrean, Nipsey Hussle niggas over there. And then we see Nubia right here. King, so they got a little kingdom over there. And it's put in Prester John. And whoever the hell this other white dude is. Somewhere between Ethiopia and damn, I can't even tell. Let me see if I can pick up on one of these interior regions. So this would be the Atlas Mountains. Libya. So we know this is Libya right here because I can see that. Al-Bayan. That almost look Arabic. Or sound like Arabic. Rex of Nubia, so King of Nubia. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why there's two white guys. I know one of them is supposed to be Prester John. Who the hell is the other white one? But anyway, this look. When you go to Mecca, When you go to Mecca, look at that nigga over there. They put the nigga in Mecca in 1413. They put the nigga in Mecca in 1413. They didn't even put an Arab in to represent it. They put a nigga over there. Man. With the black flag too. That's another thing. Can't 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 miss out on the black flag. If I'm not mistaken, that black flag in certain contexts when it pertains to like the Arabs and whatnot, it's supposed to be a part of like a sign of a certain clan, or something like that. It's one of the prophecies or something like that. They're gonna come with black flags. That black flag is notorious. I forget what they're called though. Let me see if I can find it. So in the Arabic cultural context, what is the significance of black flags? It's not black flags, but there's a particular one for this story. Let's see if this is it. In Arabic and Islamic cultural history, black flags hold diverse symbolic significance. Most notably, the black banner was associated with the Prophet Muhammad, who was said to use a black flag called Al-Rayat As-Sauda, the black standard in battle. The symbolism became especially prominent during the Abbasid Revolution in the 8th century, when the Abbasids adopted black as their dynastic color to distinguish themselves from the Umayyads, who used white. So that could be what it is. Look, in some Islamic traditions, hadith, armies carrying black banners from the east are prophesied to herald the arrival of the Mahdi, a messianic figure in Islamic eschatology, though these traditions are not considered strong by many scholars. So earlier today, I was trying to remember about this damn Mahdi word. It was slipping my mind. But we were talking about Nation of Islam and Master Fard Muhammad. I think that's his name. WD Fard, whatever. He was definitely Ahmadiyya. He had some Ahmadiyya influence, and he looked like he probably came from like the Pakistan region, and they got that Ahmadiyya influence or movement, whatever you want to call it, over there. Same thing with Imam Bashir. He was Ahmadiyya. I knew a Pakistani kid. He was Ahmadiyya. So a lot of people don't know about the Ahmadiyya movement. But let's go back to it. Let's see if we could find ourselves again. So this is the Red Sea. It's painted red. It faded, but it goes all the way down. Damn. It's kind of hard to make out what's going on toward the bottom. Trying to go over a little bit. There looks to be another king, another Arabian king. What does that say? Arabia Saba, or something like that. Arabia Saba, something like that. Not sure what these are right here. I thought I was gonna say maybe they're clouds, but they're probably not clouds. I can't tell what that is. This region, we'd be going up into like Syria, Lebanon, whatnot over here, Iraq. Let's see if we can find Baghdad on here. So this is the Shams, which means that we need to find the two rivers. Where's the two rivers? There's definitely one right here. Maybe this is 1 and 2. These are the two rivers running down right here. Um, okay. I'm gonna say these are the two rivers. Damn, but what is this? And are these the Caspian and Black Sea? I don't know their map style that well, so I can't tell. Because I know in some of the old Arab maps, a circle could sometimes represent like a body of water. But damn, this goes way up north. It goes way, way, way up north. I just found my... So this is the Shams. Now we're in Eastern Europe. This could be the Caucasus Mountains, damn near. Damn. But it's in Latin. It's so hard to make out what's going on. Got a Latin alphabet, Latin language. What is it? Majorcan dialect with Gothic script. Like, damn. All these layers to it. Alright, who is this way up here? This is what I want to know. Who the hell is this? He's on... At first I said a camel, but it looks like he's on a damn reindeer. Because it got antlers. And I said a camel because I thought we were still just dealing with Africa. So it looked like a damn reindeer. He got a bird by his feet. So let me see if I can make out what region that is. So let me find familiar land. Alright, this is Sicily. This is Italy. So we're going through Italy. Damn, I don't know Europe that well. He's in Northern Europe. I know that much. And I'm wondering if this could be like the damn, what's those people up there? The Sami people? Could that be the Sami people? Or is he a little bit too far? Let's see. And I wish I could know what vessel this is. Right here. Alright, this is Britain. This is Great Britain. Ireland right here. Or the British Isles as we know it. So the only people who would have been over here. Oh, damn, we read about this. That's the whale. He's harpooning the whale. I forgot what I read about the context of exactly who that is. And if this wasn't upside down, I could probably put that into the AI. See what that says. It's definitely Christian. I see the crosses at the top. Oh, St. Brendan. That was the St. Brendan story. That got to be like some Irish St. Brendan. They do represent that natural barrier with the mountains right here. So we know these are mountains. Because I always hear about the mountains that separate Spain and France. So every time we see that, we know those are mountains. So there's mountains here, mountains here, mountains here, mountains that go here. Mountains, mountains, mountains. Then you got the big Atlas Mountains. Big Atlas Mountains. More mountains. So we know these are all mountains. The blue squiggly lines are all mountains. They're definitely doing trade. All right, so you know, there was something there. You know, there's a little bit of a barrier because the article didn't give a whole lot of translations, and I just wish the resolution was better. We'd be able to do more with this, but this is a takeaway. I think this is a very interesting representation. Muslims will get a kick out of that. definitely get a kick out of that. Let's see if they're still connecting the Niles though. Nope. All right, they separated. No, 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 no. No, these are mountains. No, this is the river. Okay. So maybe not every time we see those blue squigglies do they represent mountains. It could be rivers. But I do know there's a natural barrier that separates Spain and France. Now, whether that's a mountain range or elevated, whatever, or a river, I gotta go back and do my research. But we do still see the connection of the Western Nile to the quote-unquote Eastern Nile. They're connecting it here, saying this is one large river that flows across. This is what they think at the time. And they think that okay, they actually know it goes even south of Nubia, south of Nubia. Medieval thought, man. Very interesting stuff, because it could always go into some medieval sources and pull something out that's just, you just gotta be like, wow, that was interesting. Keep building on it. I'm definitely gonna get into these books. I gotta get into Black Knights. I gotta read Black Knights. I know I'm gonna find more interesting stuff in there. What else? Caste. I haven't even read a page in that book yet. Then we got the Capitalism and Slavery. I gotta read that one. I got a whole lot I gotta read. There's a whole lot to do. Let's see, I'm only gonna do one or two things. I might start learning a little Latin. And we're gonna read another article.